Hey everyone, Sean Watasa here, back with another video, and in today's tutorial we're going to be building a very simple seamless web3 game. And what we're going to be building is a very simple hangman game. We're going to allow a user to sign in with an embedded wallet, which allows them to sign in with social logins like Google, Facebook, or Apple. Then a user can play the game, and if they win, they'll be able to claim tokens, and we'll be able to track that token balance to their embedded wallet which they created. And to mint those tokens and to claim those tokens will be gasless on the user's end, and we'll be covering everything on the back end, and we'll actually be using Thirdweb's engine to handle all of that. So an overview of what we're going to go over in this course, we're first going to go over and take a look at a demo of the game that is being built. We'll go over some of the things that are happening. That way you have an understanding of the concept of the game that we're going to build. Then we're going to deploy our token contract using Thirdweb, and we'll jump into building out our game and adding the backend functionality of engine to mint the tokens. So with all that being said, let's jump on the computer here and take a look at a demo of the game. So right here, I have a demo of our web3 hangman. This terminal on the right side here is me running engine locally here on my desktop. So you can see here the web3 hangman game. We have to sign in to start playing. We can hit sign in. It prompts us with an embedded wallet, which is something that we offer here at Thirdweb, and we'll go over how to set this up. You can sign in with social logins like Google, Facebook, or Apple, or you can sign in with an email, which you'll then be sent a OTP or one-time password, or you'll have to verify that in order to sign in. I'm just going to select Google here, select my email. Once I am signed in, you can see here that we have my email that I am signed in with. We have my current balance. So every time you win a game, you can claim 10 tokens. And you have a sign out button, which will just sign you out or disconnect your embedded wallet from the application. So you can see here we have a regular game of hangman where we have a random word here. We have our guesses, and we have 6 remaining wrong guesses. So if I put this in here and we try to guess this word, and you can see here I guessed it correct. It was avalanche, and it says congratulations, you won. We can then claim a prize. When we hit claim prize, you can see here my engine server on the right side just got our request to claim some tokens. It's going through, and you can see there we have our prize has been claimed. We can come to our engine dashboard here on ThirdWeb. We can see that the transaction has been sent. It's going to be mined, and once it's mined, we can then come back to our application here. And you can see we restart the game, and we have a balance of 40 now. So every time you win, again, I just made it so you get 10 tokens. Now, if we get it wrong or incomplete, and we run out of guesses, you can see game over, try again. We don't have the option to claim. We can just restart the game and start guessing again. And again, we can just sign out, which disconnects our wallet, and then the player can sign in using their social logins or email. If they use a different social login or email, that is again connecting them to a different embedded wallet, so they won't be accessing the same account. So again, this is a seamless Web3 game. Nowhere in this will a user interact or have to interact or know anything about Web3. They'll be signing in with their social logins. And if they do guess something correctly, so let's just say this one here, Polygon. This claim prize here, again, is making an API call to ThirdWeb engine where we're calling on our token contract to claim a token. Tokens from that token contract are also only allowed to be claimed by the deployer of that contract. And we actually have this wallet set up on engine as a backend wallet. So that wallet is actually the one that makes the calls. So no one can go to our token contract and actually claim these tokens, because the only person allowed, or the only wallet allowed to claim the tokens, is going to be the deployer wallet, which again, we're going to set up with engine when we go through this tutorial. So again, you can claim prizes. You can see the requests go through here on the right side. And then once it comes back, we can say prize claimed. We can just restart the game. You can see here that's going through, and once it goes through, our balance should update to 50. So let's start building this out. The first thing we're going to do is deploy our token contract. So I'm going to come over to thirdweb.com, connect my wallet, and we're going to come over to the contracts tab here. I'm going to select the deploy contract button, and we're going to look for the drop section right here. And in the drop section, we have a token drop contract. So this is a claimable token or ERC20 contract. So when we set a claim condition, we can set the supply and who can claim these. And we're just going to set the supply to unlimited just because this is just more so points that someone can earn from playing our game. So I'm going to hit deploy now, and I'm going to name this hangman token. And you can set your image, description, symbol if you want to as well. We'll just say hang. And then at the bottom here under network and chains, you can select any EVM compatible network or blockchain you want to deploy this to. I'm going to be using Mumbai, but you can search any network by the chain ID or the name of it, mainnet, testnet, whatever you want to use. I'm going to be using, again, Mumbai for this tutorial, and I'm going to hit deploy now. We'll get our transaction that comes up to deploy our contract. We'll confirm. Then we'll get a second pop-up here. This is going to be a signature to add this contract to our dashboard. This is just so we can reference back to it if we need to. We can hit sign. And there you go. Once your contract has been deployed, you'll be brought to your contract dashboard. You should see something like this. And the only thing we need to set up here is going to be a claim condition. So in the left-hand navigation, we're going to navigate down to claim conditions. And we're going to add a phase. Now we're going to add only owner. Again, the only person that should be able to distribute these tokens or claim these tokens is going to be the deployer. So our deploying wallet that we deployed this contract with. If we make it public, then anyone can just come to this contract and start claiming tokens, which we don't want. So we're going to make it only owner. And we're going to hit save here. And this is going to save our claim condition. We get our transaction that appears. We'll confirm that. And once that has been successful, you can see our saved claim phases. We have an only owner claim phase. And that's all we need for this hangman token. Now, what I'm going to do next is we're going to build out our hangman game. So I'm going to open up my terminal here. And in my terminal, we're going to create a new Next.js app. So I'm going to run npx create a next app. And I'm going to call this hangman web3. And for this app, we are going to use TypeScript. We are going to say yes to ESLint, no to Tailwind, yes to source directory, yes to app router, and no to customizing the defaults. And once that's done, I'm going to change into my hangman web3. And we're going to install thirdweb into our next project. So I'm going to run npm install at thirdweb-dev/react. I'm also going to install at thirdweb-dev/SDK. And we're going to install ethers as well. And we'll link down in the description below to the doc where you can get this command. And if you aren't using Next, you can also see how you can install thirdweb into your project. All right, and once that is done, let me just clear this up. We're just going to open up this in our code editor. And in our code editor here, we're going to first set up our project here. So in the source folder, we're going to come over to the page.tsx. And I'm going to delete everything within this return here. And we're going to just delete everything up top here. I'm going to add use client up here. And we are going to import ThirdwebProvider from thirdweb-dev/react. And within our home return here, we're going to have our ThirdwebProvider. And this ThirdwebProvider is going to wrap our application here. Now, we do need to set up a couple of things with our ThirdwebProvider. The first thing we need to set up is our active chain. And this is going to be the string of the chain that you deployed your contract to. So in this case, I deployed my token contract to Mumbai. So I'm going to be setting my application or my active chain here to Mumbai. The second thing we need to provide is the client ID. Now, the client ID is going to be your API key that you get from ThirdWeb. So if we come back here and you come to settings, right over here, you can create a API key. And once you create your API key, you'll be given your client ID. Now, if you do want to watch a video where we go into more depth and go through the options and everything through ThirdWeb's API keys, we'll add a link to that down in the description below. But for this, we only need to make sure that our API key has embedded wallets enabled. So we're going to copy our client ID here. Come back to our code editor. I'm going to, in my file directory here, create a new file called a .env file. And we are going to, and here we're going to add a next public. Then we're going to say client ID. And that is going to equal our client ID here. And then back in our page.tsx, we're going to, in our client ID, process.env and get our next public client ID from our .env here. Now, we also want to add support for our embedded wallets, which again allow you to sign in with social logins or email. And to add that, we're going to add supported wallets here to our third web provider. And we're going to give it an array of the wallets that we want to support. Now, we only want to support embedded wallets, but within embedded wallets, we can provide what type of auth we want to allow. So we don't have to allow all social logins. We can pick and choose which ones we do want to allow. And within auth, we just have the options that we're going to provide, which is going to be the array of the auth options. So we can provide email, we can provide Apple, we can provide Facebook, and we can provide Google is the last one. And we'll be adding more social logins and be announcing those as they come out. Okay, so once that is done, we can now add a connect wallet button and it will support embedded wallets with these auth options right over here. Now, if we take a look back at our demo application, we're going to first create this navbar up top, which has our sign in button, which allows us to sign in with embedded wallet. And then once we're signed in, it'll show us our email that we signed in with and a sign out button and our total balance of the tokens that we own. So if we sign out here, we're going to create this sign in button with this embedded wallet login, and then we'll show that information once we're signed in. So to create this, we're going to come back into our code editor here, and in my app folder, I'm going to create a new folder called components. And within components, I'm going to create a new file called navbar.tsx. And then in here, we're going to create our navbar. So I just have a simple div here. Now the div, we are going to add just some styling into it. Like that. And within this div, we are going to display the name of our app. So we'll just do a header 3 here, and we'll call this web. We'll just call this hangman. And then depending if we have a wallet or embedded wallet connected to our application or not, we'll determine if we're going to show the connect wallet button, which is a UI component from ThirdWeb, or we're going to show the things like the token balance, the email, and a sign out button. So in order to know if we have a wallet connected, we're going to create a variable up here called address. And we're going to use the use address hook from ThirdWeb. And what this use address hook does is gives us back the wallet address of the connected wallet as a string. And if not, it will be undefined. So with that undefined, we can check if there is no address, then we can display the connect wallet UI component from ThirdWeb. And if there is an address, we can then display our other components like the email and the logout button and token balance. So in our connect wallet button here, if I save this and let's add this to within our ThirdwebProvider provider here, and let's run our app here. So let me just open my terminal and run a yarn dev. You can see here we have our game, which is called Hangman, and we have a connect wallet button here in the top right, which gives us our social logins of our embedded wallets or email option. So coming back to our code editor here, I'll just drop my terminal away. Coming back to our navbar here, we're going to change this connect wallet button a bit. So we can actually change what the button says. So we're going to change the button title. We'll change it to sign in. And we can give it a little bit of styling, so we can let it match our other buttons and kind of just make it a little bit smaller. So coming back to our app here, you can see we now have a sign in button, still has the same functionality of opening this up here. Now, once we are signed in, so if I hit sign in here and I sign in with Google, you can see it's not going to show anything because we put in our code here that once we have an address connected, it's showing this empty div. So next thing we're going to do is put in the components that we want to display once a user is connected. So we're going to get a few stuff because we want to display the token balance. So we first need to get our token balance of the connected wallet using this address here. We're first going to get the contract of our token. And we're going to use contract here, and we are going to use our token contract, which I am going to create a new folder in my app folder here called constants. And I'm going to create a new file in there called constants.ts, which I'm going to store my token contract address in. So I'm going to come back here and get that. So we have our hangman token here. I'm going to copy that, come back in here, paste it in there. And this is just so we can use this token contract address throughout our application. So here, I'm going to get the contract of my token contract address, and then I can get the token balance, and we're gonna get back data here when we use our React hook, and we're gonna get back our token balance, and this is going to use token balance, and use token balance, you can see here, takes the contract that we're checking and then the wallet address. So contract is going to be the contract that we got using our token contract address. And then the wallet address is going to be the address here that we get using the use address hook here. So over here, the first thing we're going to display is going to be our balance. And this is going to get our token balance, and we can get the display value, which will give us a string of the balance that we can display here in our app. And I'm going to give this div here some styling, and I'm going to give this paragraph here some just margin on the right. So if we come back to our app really quick, you can see balance is a 0 because we don't have any tokens within this wallet that we connected. Next thing we want to do is display the email address of the embedded wallet. So if we come back to our code editor here, we can get the email address of our embedded wallet. We'll first need to get our wallet that we have connected. So we're going to save this in a variable called wallet, and we're going to use the use wallet hook here. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to get or create a state variable of our user email. Get rid of this, which can be a string or undefined. We'll just import use state, and then what we're going to do is check if wallet is an instance of embedded wallet. Then what we're going to do here is our wallet, we're going to get email. Then we are going to set our user email to the email, and that will give us a user email variable here that we can use, and that should hold our email of our embedded wallet. So coming down here under this paragraph tag here, we'll just add another paragraph tag with some styling and some borders, and we're going to display our user email. So coming back to our app here, you can see now I have my user email right here. And then the last thing we need to do is add a button that will disconnect or sign out our embedded wallet. So coming back here, we're going to get another variable here. We're going to call this disconnect, and this is going to use the use disconnect here. And then what we're going to do here at the bottom is we're just going to create our own button. And our button is just going to have some styling for our button. And then our on click is going to call the disconnect here. And we're just going to name that sign out. So we come back to our app here. We now have a sign out button. So if I hit sign out, disconnects our wallet from our application. We now have a sign in again. We can sign in with Google. When we sign back in with our email, you can see here, we now have our balance, our email, and our sign out. Cool. So now that we have our sign in available here, we're going to create our hangman game. And before we create the hangman game, we're going to create some basic game logic that we're going to need for our game. So within the app folder here, I'm going to create a new folder called lib. And we're going to create a new file in there called game logic.ts. And within this game logic.ts here, we're going to first create something that will just give us a random word. Now we're going to store the random words that we want just to simplify things. We're just going to create an array of random words that I'm going to be using within my game, but you'll be able to generate your own random words if you want to use an outside source or you want to create your own list, you can do that. But just to simplify things here, we're going to export a function called a get random word, which is going to equal a function that gives us a string. And we're going to store our words here in an array. And just to make this easy, I'm just going to store some words here with some chains, thirdweb, and a random cookie there. and then we're going to return, and we're going to return words, and we're going to use random to again just get one of these words back randomly. We're also going to export a function called check guess, which is going to take our word and our guess that we're going to give when we're playing hangman, and that's going to return back a boolean. And what this will do is return if our word includes our guess. And this is going to be our two very simple functions that we're going to use to create our hangman game. One, to create our random word, and then two is our check guess to see if our user's guess is actually included in the word. So next we'll head back to our pages.tsx file here, and we're going to create our hangman game. So I'm going to call this hangman game, and this is where we're going to create our hangman game. So we'll just really quickly return here, div, and we're going to add our hangman game right here in below our navbar. Now for our hangman game, we only want to show the game if a user is signed in, so has a connected wallet. So just like our navbar here, we're going to create a address variable using useAddress. Then we're going to create some state variables that we're going to need for our hangman game. And let me just import our use state here. So some of the state variables we're going to use is word, or set the word that we're going to randomly choose from our array of words. We have our guesses. So the guesses that the user is giving, how many remaining guesses they have, which we're going to set to 6. They can guess wrong up to 6 times. Game over, so this is going to toggle our game over menu, whether they can claim a prize or not. We have win, so if they did win and guessed the word correctly, we're going to set this. When they're claiming a prize, we're going to set claiming prize, and once they have claimed the prize, we'll set prize has been claimed. So next we're going to create a use effect here, and we're going to create a function to reset our game. So our use effect here is for when we reset our game, and our reset game function here is going to, one, get a new random word. So if a user resets the game, they don't get the same word that they just played. And what we'll do from there is set the new word, set our guesses back to blank, set our guess amount back to 6, and we'll set a game over back to false, and set everything else back to false as well. Then we're going to create a function here to handle our guess, which is going to take the letter that our user guesses to check if our word includes the letter or not. And then we'll also create a use effect here to check if we win or lose only if the word is not empty. Does the guess have every letter? And then we'll set the win to true, and we'll set game over to true. If they lost, then we'll set the win to false and set game over to true. So now let's create our hangman game here. So for our div here, we're just going to add some styling here. And for our game, again, we only want to display the hangman game if the user is signed in with an embedded wallet. So we're first going to check if they have an address connected or an embedded wallet connected or not. If they don't have an address connected, we're just going to display here some text saying sign in order to start playing. But if they do have an address connected, we'll then create our hangman game. So over here, I'm just going to add a margin at the top, and we're going to display our section that is going to include the random word. What we're going to do is get our random word. We're going to split it, and we're going to map through each letter. And then for each letter, we're going to just give it a underscore here, and that's kind of like where it's blank, and those are the letters that our user needs to guess. Then we're going to create a div under that, give it some styling here. These are going to be where our guesses are going to be displayed. So this is going to be whatever letters our user guesses will be added here. So we will just display our guesses, and we'll add in whatever guess they give with just commas in between them. Then below that, we will keep track of their remaining guesses. So we'll have remaining guesses here, and we'll display the number of remaining guesses they have. Below that, we are going to create our container where we're going to display the letters that a user still has to guess. So we have a string here with all the letters of the alphabet. We're going to split each one and map through each letter. And then for each letter, we're going to create a button here. And that button is going to have the on click to handle our letter guess. to handle our guess, which is going to be the letter of whichever letter that is. It's disabled if our guesses has the letter included or if we're in game over. We have some styling here, and again, we're just going to map through and display a letter for each one. Now, once the game is over, we'll then display a little pop-up modal and display our options depending if the user has won or not. So we're just going to create this background here with a little bit of blur and some overlay. And then within that, this is going to be our little pop-up modal. And depending if we won or not, if we did win, then we'll say, congratulations, you won. If you didn't win, then we'll say, game over, try again. And then below that, we're going to just create another div here. And depending if you won or not, if you won, you should have the ability to see a claim prize button, which we're going to disable once the prize has been claimed. And depending if the prize is claiming, we'll say claiming prize. If the prize has been claimed, then we'll say prize claimed. If not, the button should say claim prize. And then outside of this, if they won, no matter what, they should see a restart game button. And that restart game button will have the on click to reset the game, which resets all of our state variables back to the default. And we just added some styling and everything here. So we come back to our game here. You can see right over here, we have our display area where we're displaying the word that we have to guess. When we hit different guesses, you can see that our guesses get added into our guess section here, and we have our letters added in here. So I believe this is avalanche. And if we guess correctly, it'll say, congratulations, you won. We have a prize, claim prize button here, but we didn't add any function to that. But if I hit restart game, it should restart the game, select a different word. So let's see what word this one is. I believe this one is thirdweb. But let's just guess it wrong. So if we get it wrong, there you go. It says game over, try again, restart game, and we have a new word and we can restart playing again. Our game is working. Our hangman game is working. Now let's add the ability to claim our prize if we do win. So what we're going to do here is create an API to claim that token using engine. And I'm going to head back to my code editor here. I'm going to open up my files here, and under app, I'm going to my app folder, I'm going to create a new folder called API. In that new API folder, I'm going to create a new folder called mint token. And then within that mint token folder, I'm going to create a new file here called route.ts. And what we're going to do here is we're first going to get some environment variables that we're going to add to our .env file. So we're going to get our engine URL, we're going to get our access token and backend wallet. So I'm actually going to take these here and go to my .env, and I'm going to add these in here. We'll get these, we'll get the values for those in a bit. We're going to create our post request. So this is going to be a async function. We're going to call it post. It's going to take in our request, which is going to be of type request. And the first thing we're going to check in our post request is to make sure we have all of the variables that we need. So we're going to check if we don't have our engine URL, our access token, or our backend wallet address, we will throw a new error saying that we're missing our environment variables. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the address from our request body. Basically, this address is going to be the wallet address of the embedded wallet, so we know which wallet to send the tokens to. So we're going to get back our address here, and this is going to be, we're going to await our request JSON. Next thing we're going to do is create a request and get back our response. So we'll get back our response here, which is going to, we're going to await, and we're going to then fetch. The first thing we're going to do is provide it our URL endpoint, which is going to be our engine URL. It's going to be /contract/ is going to be the chain that your contract is on. So in my case, for this tutorial, we deployed to Mumbai. Then it's going to be / the contract address, which we can get from the token contract address that we have stored in constants. And we are going to, and this is going to be an ERC20 and we're going to call the claim 2. Below that, we're going to provide our method, which is going to be a post request, and we're going to have our headers here, which is going to be, we have our content type, which is going to be application JSON. We have our authorization, which is going to be bearer and our access token. And then we have our backend wallet address, which is going to be our backend wallet address. Then we need to provide it with our request body, which is going to be the recipient and the amount. So to get this information, depending on what you're doing with Engine, if we come to the Engine dashboard here and I go to Explorer and I go to ERC20, we are going to be calling the ERC20 claim 2. So you can see here, this is going to be the endpoint here that we need to go to. And then within that, again, we provide the chain, the contract address in our backend wallet, and our request body should have the recipient, which is the address, and then the amount, which is the amount of tokens that we are going to claim. So again, our recipient is going to be the address, which is what we're getting from our request body here. And then we're providing that to the recipient, and anytime someone wins and claims a prize, we're just going to say that they get 10 tokens. And if our response is okay, we'll just console log that tokens have been claimed, and or else we'll just say failed to claim tokens here. And finally, down here, we're going to return our next response.json with the message tokens claimed. So then once we have our API request here finished, we're going to go back to our page.tsx and we're going to create that function for that button to claim our prize. So right down here, we're going to create that function, which is going to be called claim prize. We'll first set claiming prize to true, and then we'll run a try catch here. In our catch here, we'll just console log the error if there's any. And in our try here, we're going to get our response by fetching our API to mint token here. Method is going to be post. We'll set the headers here. The body is going to be the address that we're getting from our use address hook up here. And then we'll get back our response here. We'll check if response is okay. If it is, then we set that the prize has been claimed to true, or else we'll just console log that there is an error claiming. And then finally, we're going to set prize to claim. So down here in our claim prize button, we are going to add a on click, which is going to claim prize. And again, depending if our prize is claiming or our prize has already been claimed, that button should show a loading text here or that the prize has already been claimed. And that will do it for our app. So if we come back to our app here, let me just refresh really quick. You can see we have our guess here. We can start guessing. And if we guess correctly, you can see congratulations, you won, and we can claim a prize. Again, we're going to be using Engine, and I do have a local instance of Engine running locally. If you do want to see a video on how to set up Engine locally, you can check out the link down in the description below. And we'll also link down below there to our docs that show you how to step-by-step set this up locally as well. And you can also self-host your own instance of Engine as well, or you can do a managed instance through Thirdweb, and you can do that through the Engine dashboard. So when you come to the Engine dashboard here, again, you can add an instance of Engine. You can do a self-hosted one for free, whether you want to host it yourself or you're doing it locally, or you can get a hosted Engine on ThirdWeb, which will be up and running for you. You don't have to do anything. It does cost $99 a month. You can opt into doing that as well. And if you're to do a self-hosted one, all you need to do is import your instance of Engine, put in your name, and then put in the URL to your engine. But I have mine running locally here. So if I connect to it, you can see I'm running this locally on 3005. Again, if you want to check out a video, we'll link that down in the description below. Once you have it hooked up, again, if we come back to our code editor here, we need things like our engine URL, our access token, and our backend wallet. So engine URL is going to be your URL that you're hosting Engine on. In my case here, I am just hosting it on localhost 3005. Next, we're going to need an access token, which we can create one. We can just come to permissions here. And what you're going to do here is create a new access token. It'll give you a new access token. You can copy that. Say you've secured the access token and hit done. Then you'll come back in here, paste in your access token. And then finally for the backend wallet address, we're going to come back to overview here. And that backend wallet should be the wallet that you deployed the contract with. Again, this is going to be the wallet that we're using to call the claim to function. And because we set that contract to only the owner can claim, this wallet needs to be the owner of that contract. So there's a couple ways you could do this. If you deployed the contract first, you can just get the private key of the wallet that you used to deploy. You can import, paste in your private key and import that wallet. That's what I did here. You can see my balance here matches my balance of my MetaMask wallet. Or you can create a new wallet. If you create a new wallet though, that new wallet doesn't have any funds in it. So you'll have to fund that new wallet. You can just send funds to the wallet address here. And then you'll have to use this backend wallet under Explorer here. You can go to deploy, and then you can deploy your own token drop contract here. And you can just fill out the chain you want to deploy to put in your backend wallet, and you can fill out the contract metadata for that token. That will make sure that the backend wallet that you created is the owner of the contract, of the token contract that you deployed. So again, you're going to get that backend wallet and then paste that backend wallet there into your environment variables. So now if you come back to your app, so I have it set up again with our demo game on the left, and we have engine running here on the right. So we can sign in. Once we're signed in, we have our hangman game here. You can see my balance is 0, my email here, and we can start playing this game. There we go. We guessed optimism correctly, and then we can claim prize because we won. We look here on the right, you see we just got our request here to mint our tokens or claim some of our tokens. We can come back to our engine dashboard here. You can see our transaction has just been queued. It's going to be sent and then mined. And then once it's been mined, we should see back in our game here. If we restart our game, and you can see our balance here is now set to 10. And there you have it. We built a very simple, seamless Web3 game, which allows your users to sign in with a social login or email using embedded wallets, and they can claim NFTs utilizing ThirdWeb's engine. Now, the advantage of using engine here again is we can set up and secure backend wallets, which allow us to do things like our only owner claims, where our backend wallet is the one that will be facilitating the transaction along with the gas. And with engine, you have things like nonce management, so you know that your transactions will go through, allowing your users' user experience to be seamless, and they don't need to worry again about any Web3 functionality or features that they need to interact with. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. You found some value in it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out on other tutorial videos just like this. And if you need any help or support, we'll add a link down in the description below to our support channel where you can open up a support ticket, and our support team will be happy to help you out. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video, and until next time, see ya.